You and Television 5.
Good together, looking good.
The heat story doesn't change, only the numbers. More dead every day and more states affected. For Easterners, it had been something to read and hear about until the thick, choking 99 reached New York yesterday, and the reading went to 103 in Washington. That must sound cool, though, in Tulsa, where it was 109. Through 19 states, the Associated Press has totaled at least 140 deaths. Let's see what the outlook will be for today. Meteorologist Valerie Voss. Good morning.
Thank you, Jed. More heat, of course, and the storms that rattled Detroit conventioneers yesterday have moved east this morning into Maryland, New York, Pennsylvania. There were reports of funnels and possible tornadoes in eastern Ohio overnight, and there's been a severe thunderstorm watch this morning in Pennsylvania and Maryland. Those thunderstorms are scattered along a cold front through the Ohio Valley. Also, some yesterday scattered over the Gulf of Mexico, across southern Florida, and some over the plains. Some heavy thunderstorms in Colorado yesterday, where Denver received 1.5 inches of rain in less than an hour. There was some flash flooding that occurred there. The record high temperatures yesterday reached all the way from New Mexico across the southern part of the country, north as far as Massachusetts. And there's no change in store for the next few days, at least. Here's the way the weather looked this morning from 22,000 miles up. Clear skies over a large portion of the country, but thunderstorms once again in Ohio, New York, Pennsylvania, over the plains, and some cloudiness in the Pacific Northwest. Here's the forecast then for rain. We're looking for scattered thunderstorms from Virginia north through New England, and some scattered over the Gulf and Florida. Temperatures, no change in sight at all. 90s, 100s, over 110 in the southwestern deserts. The cool areas across the northern tier of states, where it'll only be in the 70s. Now here's the kind of Thursday you'll see in your part of the country.
Here's the forecast for Nashville and the surrounding area. Partly cloudy, hot, and humid today and Friday, with the chance for a few thunder showers. Fair and warm tonight. High temperatures both days around 100 degrees and low tonight in the mid-70s.
Well, for a change, I also have a record low temperature that was legitimately broken overnight. Jacksonville, Florida's temperature dropped all the way down to 66 overnight, their coldest July 15th night ever. Jed?
Thanks, Valerie. And we'll be back in a moment.
Next, Ray Gandolf with the Thursday Morning Sports.
I'm Chris Clark. Tennesseans will be playing a major role in this year's Republican National Convention. We'll be keeping tabs on them, and you'll be there with us on Eyewitness News.
With special reports direct from Detroit on Television 5. This is an Eyewitness News update, brought to you by Mid-South Siding Company.
Good morning. A Metro police officer was shot late last night during a shootout at the Merchants Hotel on Broad. Another man was also taken to General Hospital with a chest wound. Investigators say they don't know why the two suspects opened fire on police.
Police officers were notified by subject on the streets, and people were in the place and had some guns, and all we know is officers went in and they tried to shoot the police officers.
Okay, so you're telling me you don't know why this happened? Nobody knows what happened?
Nobody knows why or nothing. The officers go into place and they are shot by two suspects sitting in the place for no reason. For no reason, as far as we can tell yet.
Rogers said it appeared one of the suspects was trying to use an officer to shield himself. Officer Leon Taylor was shot twice in the arm before the other officer began shooting. A second suspect was later taken into custody. Here's news from other parts of the state this morning. In Chattanooga, the first of 20 witnesses will be called in to testify today in the trial of 3 Ku Klux Klansmen charged with felonious assault. The men are accused of shooting 4 black women outside a Chattanooga tavern. Also in Chattanooga, a 12-year-old girl who survived a plane crash that killed her mother and stepfather says she didn't want to make the trip by airplane. She wanted to go by car. The little girl was found by a state helicopter crew yesterday, one day after the crash. And in Wartburg, the warden of the Morgan Regional Prison says he's willing to be a high school principal even at a cut in pay. Stony Lane is the former warden at the Brushy Mountain State Prison. 46 elderly residents of Shelby County have died in the heat wave. At least 62 deaths have been reported statewide since the temperature began rising above the 90s. The governor has directed state officials to gather information about the heat wave and forward it to federal officials in a request for disaster relief. Also in Shelby County, medical units of the National Guard are being dispatched to care for the elderly citizens there. One victim of the stifling heat was a Michigan woman traveling in a car without air conditioning on I-40 near Jackson. Record temperature readings have been reported in some parts of the state. Electricity consumption in the Tennessee Valley area has also set a new summer record high for the third consecutive day. Will there be some relief from the heat today? Perhaps. Weather forecasters say there is a 30% chance of rain. Today's forecast in just a moment.
Good morning, neighbors. Aluminum gutters come in about 6 different colors, and the aluminum soffit and the aluminum trim that goes over your wood facings and other wood trim can be matched with the same color. Now I have some pictures here that you might see the gutters on. Those are some different colors. You have black, white, and a couple other colors there. It comes in a total of 6, raffia beige. Now, tell you what, neighbors, if you're interested.
Call collect if you live out of town, 352-2558.
The Color Scan 500 weather radar shows there is a very heavy thunderstorm in West Tennessee near Gleason. Scattered heavy thunder showers are indicated near Dyer and 10 miles south of Clarksville to Red Boiling Springs in northern Middle Tennessee. The number of thunderstorms has decreased during the last hour, but intensities have remained unchanged. All thunderstorm activity is moving to the east at 10 miles an hour. Presently in Nashville, under partly cloudy skies, it's 83 degrees. Winds are southeast at 5 miles an hour. The barometric pressure is 29.92 and rising. The relative humidity is 82%. The forecast calls for partly cloudy, hot, and humid weather today and tomorrow, with a chance of some thunder showers. Fair and warm weather comes by nightfall. Today's high will reach 100 degrees, tonight's low will be around 75, and tomorrow the high will again be around 100. Winds are westerly at 10 miles an hour today and light and variable tonight. The probability of showers is 30% today and 20% tonight. The extended outlook for the state Saturday through Monday calls for a continuation of the dry heat wave. Highs should climb to about 100 degrees, and forecasters say lows will probably remain in the mid-70s and mid-80s. Again, it's expected to get to be about 100 degrees today, but there is some break with the possibility of thunderstorms. I hope you have a good day.
This has been an Eyewitness News Update, brought to you by Mid-South Siding Company.
There was sporadic violence in the Liberty City section of Miami last night. Rocks thrown, some gunfire, 3 dozen injuries, 15 arrests. But police told the governor they did not need the help of the National Guard. The continuing heat wave has now claimed at least 840 lives in 19 states. One of those states is Missouri, and as Don Webster reports, it's getting harder each day for Kansas City to cope as a whole, and for some individuals, the price of keeping cool is literally too much to pay.
Searing heat of downtown Kansas City, a major water main break disrupted service, and elsewhere a cable break left 1,500 homes without electricity. A few lost power for other reasons. Gwendolyn Brown lives with her sister-in-law and her 3-month-old baby. She owes more than $300 to the electric company and only gets $240 a month from welfare, so her power has been cut off. It was slightly cooler a few places in the Midwest. 99 seemed like a veritable cold wave. But most places there was no relief. Besides dozens of cases of heat prostration, more than a dozen persons died in Kansas City of possible heat-related causes. In Bloomfield, Missouri, 150,000 chickens died because they couldn't take the prolonged heat.
It's very, very serious. It's cost us several $1,000s already, hundreds of $1,000s.
In the Big Muddy River in southern Illinois, high temperatures and low water levels are killing thousands of game fish. Other animals are having difficulties too. At Kansas City's zoo, even animals from Africa are seeking shade. Attendance at the zoo, of people that is only half of normal because of the heat. The polar bears spend almost full time in the water or shade. Other animals help humans to keep their cool. Don Webster, CBS News, Kansas City.
And staff meteorologist Valerie Voss is here now to tell us if there's any relief in sight for man, woman, or beast sweating it out in the heat belt. Valerie?
Thank you, Jed. Not likely, unfortunately. Once again, yesterday there were dozens of new record-high temperatures. For the first time, Pennsylvania, New York, Maryland, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island joined the list with temperatures at or near the 100-degree mark. Along with the hot, humid weather, you can expect thunderstorms, and there were more of those yesterday and last night. Detroit is clear this morning, but yesterday they saw thunderstorms with heavy rain and high winds that did some damage to Wayne Airport. Those storms have now moved into Pennsylvania and New York, and there are also some thunderstorms scattered along that cold front associated with the low pressure area up into the northeast. Some storms over Colorado, Nebraska, Kansas. Yesterday, or last night rather, Denver received 1.5 inches of rain in less than an hour. They had some street flooding because of that. There's some storms scattered across the Gulf Coast also. They'll continue into Florida today. Generally fair, though, in the west, except where there's a developing storm center over Idaho and Montana. Let's look at the forecast now. We're looking for scattered thunderstorms across most of the east coast, north of Virginia, into New England, and some scattered over the Gulf Coast and Florida. Fair skies generally out to the west. Temperatures will not change from yesterday's readings. 90s and 100s through most of the southern part of the country. Those 90s pushing up onto the east coast. Cool 70s across the northern tier of states. Now here's the kind of Thursday you'll see in your part of the country. New York City, some hazy sun, possibly a thundershower, 94. Atlanta, partly cloudy, thunderstorm 101. Chicago, mostly sunny, 86. Houston, fair, 97. Seattle, mostly sunny, 76. And Los Angeles, fair, 82. Seems the only states that haven't been affected by the heat are those west of the Great Plains, and so far, Maine, Vermont, and New Hampshire. Jed?
Thank you, Valerie. Bob Schieffer will be back with more from Detroit when we continue.
Next on Thursday morning, a Democratic view of the Republican ticket. An interview with Democratic National Chairman Robert Strauss.
You and Television 5.
Good together.